Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I will show you transitions and transforms in CSS. So first I will cover transitions, since transitions act as the foundation of animations. Then I will proceed with transforms. You will want to use transitions when using transform in order to produce a smooth and gradual animation. That's why first I will start with transition with its types and its properties. Then I will continue with transforms. So there are 4 transition properties today I will talk you about. The first one is transition property, the second is transition duration, the third is transition timing function, and the fourth is transition delay. So let's start from transition property. What is transition property? The transition property specifies the property to be transitioned. I will show you now in an example. I've created a div and I will show you how it works. So first let's start with transition property. As I said, it specifies the property to be transitioned. So here I want to transition to be applied to transition property. I want it to be applied to width. Okay, so as you can see, I also have hover effect on this div. So normally the div width is 100 pixels, but when I will be hovering over it, it will be 300 pixels. I will just delete it before I show you, because I want to show you how it looks like and how it will look like after I will add transition property. So now I will save this and refresh my page, and as you can see, there is no transition, nothing. It's just when you hover over it, width becomes 300 pixels. But now let's add transition property to width. You can apply it to individual elements, or you can apply it to all elements. When I did transition property to width, now let's save it and let's refresh the page, and I will show you what happens. Nothing happens. You can ask me why, because we haven't set the duration for this transition. So if there is no duration, there is no point to add transition property to the element. So the next property will be transition duration. So let's add transition duration. Transition durations can be specified in seconds or milliseconds. Transition duration property specifies how many seconds or milliseconds a transition effect takes to complete. So I can specify it in 2 seconds or 2 milliseconds. It's up to me. Let's do here, for example, 2 seconds. As you can see, milliseconds is also coming up. I will choose 2 seconds and I will save it and refresh my page. And now you can see that the transition is going smoothly for 2 seconds. The next element, the third element I will talk about, is transition timing function. What does it do? The transition timing function specifies the speed of the transition over the duration. For example, let's added transition timing function, and as you can see, we have different values which have a linear, is in, out, is out. I will choose is in here and I will show you how it works. I will save it and I will refresh my page, and as you can see, the transition effect starts slower, then fast, then ends slowly. This is what does it mean, transition timing function. This is what does it do. Okay, so last property which I will show you now is transition delay property. The transition delay property specifies when the transition will start. For example, let's start transition delay. So I want, for example, my transition to start after 2 seconds when I hover over it. So I will save it and I will refresh my page. And now you see that even I put the cursor on my element, on my div, it doesn't start. It starts after 2 seconds. Okay, the transition takes place after 2 seconds. This is what it means. I will tell you one trick here. Instead of writing all 4 properties for this transition, you can just write a shorthand and use all these 4 properties in this shorthand. What does this mean? It means that by using only transition effect, you can specify the property, duration, the timing function, and delay in just one style. Okay, I will tell you one trick here. When you use transition shorthand, it doesn't matter where you begin, transition property, duration, timing function. What matters is the first time value stated will be the duration, and the second value will always be the delay. So when you write 2 seconds, for example, 2 seconds and 2 seconds, so first time it will always be duration and the second will be delay. For example, when you write like this, with 2 seconds, which will be duration, and then transition timing function is in, and then 2 seconds. And then I'll just close my properties. So please pay attention. You have 2 seconds here 2 times. So first 2s will be 2 seconds, will be always transition duration, and the last one will be always transition delay. So it doesn't matter where you start, transition property or transition timing function, but always bear in mind that these 2 seconds transition duration and transition delay matters. Okay, I will just delete all these properties and I'll just keep it and save it and refresh our page. And now you will see we have the same thing. Our transition timing starts after 2 seconds and all our properties have here the same properties. So it's just shorthand to use the other 4 properties. Instead of other 4 properties, you can use just transition effect. Okay guys, so we have finished with transitions. Now I will talk about transforms. So what are transforms? Transforms allow us to move or change the appearance of an element on a 2D plane. So we will want to use transforms with transitions in order to produce a smooth animation. Now I will show you how we will use transitions with transform. There are 4 different types of transforms: rotate, skew, scale, and translate. So first transform is rotate. The rotate transform rotates an element clockwise or counterclockwise by a specified number of degrees. Let's include the property here, transform property. Okay, I will just delete this. So whenever we hover over the element, the transform effect will take and it will rotate the element 90 degrees. I will save it and I will refresh our page. So as you can see, it starts after 2 seconds and it rotates the element 90 degrees. Because I have specified here positive number 90 degrees, it rotates is clockwise, the element clockwise. But if I put here negative degree, negative 90 degree, let's put and let's save it. And let's refresh our page. As you can see, the transform rotates an element counterclockwise. Okay, so second type of transform is skew. The skew transform tilts an element based on values provided on the x and y axis. So I will show you how it works. So transform, we have in transition the name property transform, and transform type we will include it as skew. Will delete rotate, and I will keep 30 degrees and I will show you how it works. I will save it and refresh the page. Now you will see how it works. So a positive x value tilts the element left, as you can see. It tilts the element left, and a negative x value tilts it right. So if you put it here negative and save it and check, now you can see that it tilts it to the right. Also, a positive y value tilts the element down. We can specify here skew y if you want to tilt it down, and it can be also positive and negative degree. If it's negative degree, I will save it and I will show you. Y value tilts it up if the degree is negative, but if it's positive, I will save it and I will show you. If it's positive, it will tilt the element down, as you can see from here. We can also specify skew X as well, as I told you before, or if we just don't specify X or Y or anything, it will treat it as skew X. If it's 30 degrees and we haven't specified Y or axis and we save it, and when we come and refresh it, we see that it tilts it to the left on X axis. So it treats it as skew X. Also, you can use both y-axis and x-axis in one element. For example, if you can use it skew 30 degrees and you can put comma and 50 degrees and save it and refresh the page. And you can see here, because of y element, a positive element on y-axis, it tilts it down, and because we have specified 30 degrees x-axis, it tilts it to the left. So both is possible to be specified. Now we'll talk about the third property of a transform. This is scale transform. The scale transform increases or decreases the size of an element. So a number larger than 1 will increase the size of the element, and a decimal less than 1 will decrease the size of the element. For example, let me show you in an example. So we'll change the type here to scale, and we'll put here 2 and close the brackets, save and refresh the page. Now you will see the element has increased its size, but if we put it less than 1 decimal, for example 0.5, and save it, and now you can see the element has decreased. The size of an element can be scaled by the x-axis and y-axis, or both. The shorthand scale, like how we have specified here, will affect both axes at the same time. But if we want to specify x and y-axis separately, we can do it. For example, if we put scale x to 0.5 and we save it, and as you can see, it's on x-axis, the size of the element will decrease. And if we put here scale y to 2, for example, we want to increase the size of the element and save it. As you can see, the size of an element increase on y-axis. So lastly, I will talk about the last type of transform, which is type translate. So what does it do? The translate type of transform moves an element right, left, up or down. So let's show it in example. We keep it transition transform and we change the type here from scale to translate. And we specify the element move in pixels. Positive x value moves the element to the right, and negative x value will move the element to the left. For example, if we put translate x and put 50 pixels and save it and see what happens. On x-axis, it moves the element to the right, but if we put negative value here and save and refresh the page, we see that on x-axis, it moves the element to the left. Also, we can specify here translate y. And if it's negative value, it moves the element upwards, but if it's positive value, it moves the element downwards. We can also specify both of them in one single type, just not write anything, translate x or y. I just keep translate and put both pixels. For example, minus 40 pixels. Save it. Refresh the page. And now see what happens. It moves this both upwards and both to the right side because of X and Y axis. We have identified both of them. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you understood clearly what is transition, how do we use it, and what is transform, how do we animate the elements. Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe for more tech tutorial videos.